Fresh out the box. One, two, 3, 4. I'm fresh out the box. It's fresh out the box.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the greatest podcast in the universe. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty, CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. That's where we play tabletop role-playing games with our friends. We're playing make-believe, we're making jokes, and sometimes we accidentally poop ourselves and have to go on a short break and be right back in 20 minutes.
I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and this is episode 118 of Fresh Out the Podcast. And I wanted to do a quick follow-up from last week. You know, last week we had kind of our big, Xbox brainstorm because all Xbox fans' brains were melting with the news and rumors that were swirling. And that same day, I think, is when Phil Spencer had announced that the following week, they would be providing an update. And we're here the following week, and they have confirmed that update will be coming on Thursday in the form of a podcast, on the official Xbox podcast. They'll be updating on the state of the business and the state of the industry for them, which I think will be an interesting listen.
In those comments, that link that you posted to, that Phil Spencer has been telling Xbox employees that they are not going to stop making systems. And, it's still rumor mill. We still don't know what's true and what's not true at this point. But it was rumored last week that Xbox might stop making systems. This week it's rumored that he says that they're not going to. We'll see what the future holds.
I'm just glad that our powerful journalism got those cowards to finally face us on our own turf via podcast.
Yeah, dude. When you're right, you're right.
Yeah. Phil Spencer, I challenge you to a celebrity podcast fight.
I bet you could beat Phil Spencer in a fight.
Maybe.
Would that be like a speech and debate tournament? Like, how does a podcast fight work?
No, they're going to
We
fight.
beat
but
each
it
other
will-
with microphones.
Yeah, it will not be televised. It will only be via podcast that you can catch the fight.
It's an
So
audio.
it will be a physical fight.
It's a physical
but
fight,
you just
audio
only hear
only.
it. You don't get to see it. Okay,
Correct.
I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm with you.
And
All
like
right.
Jahan said, you can use podcasting equipment. You can use microphones. You can use headphones. Anything that you would find in a podcast, you can use in the ring.
I like this. Okay, all right. This is creative. Now, I wanted to just talk a little bit about it because I think that last week we were right in the middle of everything as the rumors were getting out of control and things were just going a little crazy. And now we've had a week to kind of sit on it, and there's been a lot of thought pieces that have come out by people that are a lot smarter than me. But Puck News is an outlet that I follow that they're really great about like insider information and all kinds of different areas of media, whether it's movies, TV. They don't usually write about video games as much, but they talk a lot about the streaming landscape. And Gary, you know, it's interesting because we were kind of talking about this. You brought this up before we started recording, and this has been a theme throughout the streaming industry, with Netflix being the main profitable streaming service and the one that seems to have it all figured out. All the other streamers are kind of learning, like, well, by putting our stuff or licensing our stuff to Netflix, it gives good exposure for that product, and, you know, in turn could bring people back to our service. There, you know, you just mentioned that there are some shows that were previously on Peacock that are popping up on Netflix now, you know, might even be in their top 10. Actually, a movie that I watched is a Warner Brothers movie that's previously been on Max that's now trending on Netflix. So yeah, we're seeing this.
I totally get this, right? I totally understand wanting to have new, fresh content, and instead you just buy the other guy's content, but nothing has made me want to just quit streaming services more than this kind of thing. So now we're literally paying for a streaming service to show us the same old crap that's on the other streaming service. So at this point, just pick the cheapest one because they're just trading shows anyways.
Well, to link this to video games, one of the things that so Ryan McCaffrey, who writes for IGN, I brought him up last week as well because I was reading some of his tweets, and he did a big op-ed for IGN about this very topic. And at the end, he kind of, his summary basically concluded that regardless of what happens, Xbox's messaging or Microsoft's messaging around this has been really bad. That the past few years, it's that they're always playing from behind. They're always playing defense. They're never getting out in front of their announcements. And it's like a constant apology to the fans. And it's not a good look in how people are getting tired of it. As far as the strategy goes, they kind of throw it out there like, what if they're right to do this? You know, Sony's built their PlayStation walled garden, Nintendo's marching to the beat of their own drum, but console growth is not accelerating, but mobile growth is. So if Xbox is everywhere on consoles, PCs, and phones, is that the winning long-term strategy? Does Generation Alpha, aka the 14 and under crowd, even care about platforms? Do they just want games on all devices, but especially whichever one is closest to them at that moment? Which kind of also links to, in one of the Puck newsletters from Julia Alexander that just went out this evening, actually, she comments on this news because, you know, the podcast is coming later this week. We'll find more. But basically, she says it's looking like they're getting ready to announce that some of their first-party games are going to be potentially available on other consoles, and how while this doesn't sound crazy in the big sphere of things, for gamers, it is a big deal. Like, console exclusivity has been a big deal going back all the way to the NES and the original gaming consoles you could have in your home. So this really is a big deal. Now, granted, they're not within the gaming industry, so they have a more business-sided approach to this news. But they say, trying to find where the summary was, because I was very taken with what she said. Microsoft's come to the same conclusion that Spotify did in its recent non-platform exclusive deals with Joe Rogan. They compare it to the streaming services and how basically, you know, in media these days, you're either an arms dealer or an arms buyer. And so their decision kind of heralds a retro era back, you know, that back in the day, it was all about getting your project to as many people as possible. And so now everyone has shifted to trying to maximize subscriptions on their own platform. And we're seeing strategy reversals and trying to put your stuff on other people's platforms. And so essentially it looks like Microsoft is just reading the writing on the wall and getting ahead of it. That the best way to maximize your profits is to have your games on every console. And they even say that Microsoft might just be the first. You know, we might need to expect gaming companies to follow Microsoft's lead. So while this is making Xbox fans unhappy, this might be the new normal in the future.
I mean, I feel like the only reason anyone really cares about exclusives is because our whole lives, like you were saying, since Nintendo and Sega, like, we've been programmed to think that way. As a PC, like, I'm a lifelong PC gamer. We always got whatever, you know what I mean? Like, we everything just went to PC anyways, and it was different. But I just feel like I just want the games. I don't even think millennials really care about the console wars anymore. Like we're supposed to, you know, like we're made to feel like we're supposed to, but I just want the best games on
I'm totally with you.
the best system.
Keeping finger on the pulse in the gaming communities too, it seems the same way. It really seems like gamers, I don't care. I'm not trying to rub your face in the game that you can't play. I don't care. You don't care. Nobody cares.
I mean,
Just put the game out.
the most annoying thing ever is like, oh, Drew, you got that on PlayStation. I have it on Xbox. I guess we can't be friends. And you know, like it's ridiculous. Like we're all just consumers. Let us do what we want with the product. Like why these restrictions are weird, man. And I'm all for getting rid of this crap. Like I'm fine with it. I don't know what that looks like. But
I'm with you, and we briefly talked about this last week, how it sort of harkens to the earlier era, whenever PlayStation would have platform exclusives like Final Fantasy and stuff like that, but they would come out for Xbox 9 months to a year later. I feel like we could just be right back in that boat. Sure, Xbox will share all their titles, but maybe they come out 6 months later. Maybe it's not day of release for PlayStation and Nintendo. Maybe it is. Who cares? Who knows? It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other.
I mean, none of it matters.
Yeah.
They're all just computers. You know, consoles are just very user-friendly PCs. And, you know, just let us play whatever we want on them. Why, like, oh, I have a PlayStation brand computer versus you have a Microsoft brand.
Yeah,
They're
and
the
should
same
you
thing.
Should you be allowed to play Elder Scrolls 6 whenever that comes out? Sure. And sure, they're going to make way more money if they release it for PC and PlayStation, and
Yeah.
hopefully for whatever Nintendo's future is. Of course they'll make more money with huge titles like
mean,
that.
when
And
you're-
Call of Duty.
When you're comparing
you know.
consoles, it's like if Dell's had different games than HP's. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. Like,
It really
No
is.
one wants that.
Yes. It is a video game that's just it is a thing that is unique to video game. Well, I take it back because now you have the streaming wars and this show's on this streamer and this show's on this
And
streamer.
then
So
they
you're
just
seeing it a
buy it
little bit
after
later.
a year. It still doesn't matter. They're just going to trade shows. We just talked about that. We've seen it. South Park's been on every single streaming platform. They're just cashing in
Yeah,
every
South
time
Park's
they
a
can.
big old slut. That shit's
Yeah,
crazy.
they are.
It would be interesting. Like I'm just brainstorming here now as we're talking about it. This just kind of came to me because, like, okay, say you have the Last of Us Part 3, right? Say way down the line, Sony and Naughty Dog announced that they're making The Last of Us Part 3, and we are in a different era of video games where these previous console exclusives come to all the consoles. You know, by having that game, which previously would have been a Sony exclusive and only available on Sony consoles, say it's on the future Nintendo console and on Xbox, maybe you charge full price for that game on those other consoles if there's still multiple consoles you can buy. But if you're a loyal PlayStation follower and you play your PlayStation games on the PlayStation console, like maybe you get a discount at launch if you're buying it on your PlayStation because, you know, the profits for the game bought on PlayStation directly matter less if it's available on all the consoles. Does that make sense?
I follow
Do you get rewarded for buying it on that console as like a loyal follower, and
I
pay
see
less
what
than
you're
you would on a
saying.
rival
console
console?
exclusive loyalty programs. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I don't know, man. I don't care what they do as long as I can play whatever I want on my.
It's
whatever.
What
We're
you're
seeing
talking
it.
about already exists. It's already in Game Pass and it's already in the PlayStation Plus where
Yeah.
you get the discounts for being a member. So you're just
Exactly
talking
what
about
I was gonna
making,
say.
You're talking about new releases having that same kind of thing.
Like,
I for
why
sure
are
see a
Xbox
world where
why are
PlayStation
Xbox
Plus
fans-
copies what Game Pass is doing, where PlayStation Originals would be part of what you're paying for already, and then you pay a full price for Xbox games. And if you're on Xbox and you have Game Pass, you get the originals, but you still have to pay for it. I could see them definitely doing that, just copying Game Pass and doing the exact opposite.
why should Xbox gamers get upset if a game that Microsoft has, that is by a Microsoft owned studio, if PlayStation gamers are paying $69.99 for that game on a PlayStation, but you're getting it automatically with your Game Pass subscription, like what's the problem?
Free.
What's the-
Toxic
quote
fandom
free.
is the problem. It's getting in the way of progress here, guys. Let's cut the crap and let it
I
happen.
guess the only other counter there is I would think that Xbox wants Game Pass on other consoles too. So like if you subscribe to Game Pass on and it's eventually available on PlayStation, do you still get that game as part of your subscription? I would assume
That's
so.
one of those really, that's what I was talking about last week, where that's a huge question mark for us to try to figure out because are some of these Xbox exclusives even going, are all of them going to be on PlayStation is the question. They might have, like we talked about, a different PC Game Pass, a different PlayStation Game Pass, a different Xbox Game Pass, a different Nintendo Game Pass. Because the systems have different specs, I wouldn't expect every single Xbox title to be available everywhere. But I do think you're going to get all the big hitters and the new games and the games that people want to see, I think are going to be cross-platform.
Yeah, like it makes sense for Indiana Jones and Elder Scrolls 6 whenever that comes out to be on those other consoles, but like maybe keep Halo on Xbox. I don't know.
No,
you know?
you let Halo go over there too, but keep the stuff that no one cares about. You know, like if Hades was an Xbox, oh, that is a huge game. That's a horrible example. I don't know, man.
It's a terrible
how
example.
about
Everyone loves that game.
how about something like Diablo? Diablo 3. Diablo 3, no one's playing it. It's over. It's done. Do you really need to port it over to every single system at this point if it's a Microsoft only game? So I don't know if they're going to do their old games, old titles, and obscure stuff. I think it's just going to be big new hits.
We're just splitting hairs at this point. I mean,
We really
For
are.
sure.
we're getting the weeds on this one. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out Thursday, I guess. And I'm hoping for some good news and that we can finally play with everybody and just, cut the crap. I want to play the new Last of Us games and stuff. Like, just let me do what I want. And I want PlayStation people to be able to play the new Fable when it comes out. You know what I mean? Like it was funny when they bought Bethesda, Microsoft, and we're like, haha, you don't get Elder Scrolls. But at the same time, I don't want anyone to not have Elder Scrolls. That's not
Do you
real,
remember, they've re-released and re-released and re-released Elder Scrolls over the past decade, sometimes with more DLC, with Game of the Year edition. They just keep re-releasing it and making a ass load of money. So when you're not releasing it and re-releasing it and re-releasing it, if you're not doing it on PlayStation, well, then you lost more than half of your sales already. So those re-releases, you're losing a lot of money there if you don't put it on PlayStation. Same thing with Call of Duty. You're going to be losing a lot of money if you don't re-release and re-release all those skins on PlayStation. And that stuff has to be current, and it has to be, no one wants to play a Call of Duty that's a year old. They want to play the one that just came out. So it's going to have to be current stuff. I think Microsoft's making the right choice here. They're going to have to share their software, no doubt. And then they're going to make an ass load of money on the back end either way.
True.
There's there's a market of people on PlayStation that will buy Starfield for full price. You know, we got to play it. Gary, I know you sunk over 100 hours into that game. Are you gonna lose sleep at night if all of a sudden there's people on PlayStation that can pay $70 for that game? I doubt it.
I wouldn't have cared if they were playing day one. It wouldn't have changed my life in any way. Microsoft just would have made more money.
Yeah, I mean, and still, this is all speculation because for all we know, they're going to announce the opposite and they're going to go more exclusive. So,
Yeah, it's true.
who
For all we
knows?
know, you're right. But it would be nice if the decision of what console you buy is less about what games are on that console and more about which controller do I like better? Like that's basically what it could potentially
PlayStation
come down
controller's
to.
better. That's just a fact.
Oh
disagree.
no, the Xbox controller is far and away better.
What?
Yeah. With
Yeah,
the
no
thumbsticks.
contest.
Yeah, you gotta hold them at the same time and check out how those thumbsticks are laid out, man.
Interesting. But they have the haptic feedback controls and stuff.
The haptic feedback is great, but the design of the controller itself.
Interesting.
But we're really getting into the weeds now.
I'll get in the weeds all day, dog. All right, we should move
Here's-
on.
Hold on, I want to do one more
Gary
thing.
wants to get in.
It's also the software of the platform itself that matters. I've always preferred Xbox's friend list, Xbox's party list. I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels a lot better than the way the PlayStation menus look. All right, I'm done.
I mean, it's fair. Totally fair.
I think it's an important
other-
thing that differentiates consoles.
The other hot topic is just, obviously the Super Bowl was this past Sunday. It was the most
Did you guys
watched
end up watching
televised
that?
event
Yeah.
ever.
It was.
Oh, yeah, I watched
it was a good game.
You guys watched
That's
the
a good
match,
game.
the football match?
Yeah, I'm not a big sports guy, but I do watch Super Bowl mostly just to like, I watch with my dad and my uncles and family and stuff, and it's a good
I
time.
tell you,
but
if I would have had like an extra $60 this weekend, I might have watched the Super Bowl. I might have got wings. I might have got some snacks and done the damn thing. But instead, we just chilled out at home. And since we didn't
should
have
have watched it on
football,
Nickelodeon, dude.
since I didn't have football snacks, I just didn't do it.
Did you see?
I just
Did you
played-
see that it was broadcast on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, I
I
saw
did
some.
with us. Patrick and
Patrick and
SpongeBob
SpongeBob
commentary.
were commentary, and then
Oh, that's
like
hilarious.
Dora the Explorer was popping up to explain certain calls and be like, "An offsides is when," and then like. And there was just nonsense going on. Every time they scored a touchdown, the camera like it would shoot slime onto the end zone.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was ridiculous. It was
Yeah, I saw a
Kinda
post on
genius.
Reddit that had a screenshot of it, and someone was like, "What level of insane do you have to be to choose to watch the Super Bowl on Nickelodeon?" And yeah, if I'd have known that was a thing, I might have done that.
it's kind of genius, honestly. But anyways,
They did this in the regular season too. They had a game
I remember that.
a Disney one. It aired on Disney Plus, and it was Toy Story themed, and so all the football players looked like toys, and it was very strange.
oh, I remember
But
that.
it was
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
hilarious too. Well, it was the most watched televised event ever. Like just as the
Look,
most
dude, I'm not
watched
even
event
trying
since like
to
the
be-
lunar landing.
I'm not trying to be nonconformist, but I just didn't watch it. I
No,
watched-
that's fine. That's fine. But there were some movie trailers that debuted during this, which neither here nor there. There's an article on Slash Film that posted today where one of their writers was talking about how Super Bowl movie trailers used to be like a true event for movie fans and a reason
Yeah.
to tune into the game if they wanted to catch those movie trailers. But now the movie trailers are just ads as well. Like most of them are super short and just say at the end, watch the full trailer on YouTube. Like the new full trailer is out now on YouTube, or
It's a good way
go
to
watch
save
it somewhere
money.
else.
It's
Which,
expensive
hey, I mean,
airtime.
and that led to the whole Deadpool 3 trailer being now the most watched trailer on YouTube already, after the Super Bowl. But yeah, there were some trailers that debuted. We saw A Quiet Place Day 1, Despicable Me 4, The Fall Guy, Kung Fu Panda 4, Deadpool and Wolverine, which we've been saying Deadpool 3 for forever, but the official title is Deadpool and Wolverine. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Wicked and Twisters. Oh, there's a
So
couple more.
that's
If
actually
and
the
Monkey
one-
Man.
Believe it or not, that's the one I've heard the most buzz about is Twisters.
Twister's trailer looked kind of wild. It looked pretty fun, actually.
I liked the original, man, and I remember the Universal Twister experience that you could go like sit in a cyclone kind of thing. Like it was cool, man. Like I want to see Twisters.
See, I mean, to me, if I were a movie producer, that's a dead genre. I wouldn't produce
Weather
that movie.
films.
Yeah, weather films and like natural disaster movies. That's a
Dude.
pretty dead genre.
My
You're gonna
my
have to really
mother
bring me a twist.
Loves those.
That's what I was told when I said that. The people I was talking to were like, "Dude, I love those natural disaster movies," and I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna let you have it because I love all of those crappy future movies with a dystopia.
Dude, my
I
mom's
love all of them.
all about weather films, and then if it's on a mountain or underwater, like she's all in. Like it's the weirdest thing.
Interesting.
Twisters is something that I would have said nobody wants, nobody asked for this, nobody's interested. But I'm apparently dead wrong.
Hey, it looks kind of fun. That's all I'll say about it. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Be nice if we could have a Bill Paxton appearance and a Twisters follow up, but alas, it can't happen.
Maybe they'll AI him in if we're lucky.
Yeah, make
Did
his
y'all
corpse
watch-
dance for
if
us.
We're
Yeah.
lucky. If we're lucky, that sounds terrible. Please don't do that.
Exhume
Yeah,
his
yeah.
soul and force it to dance for our entertainment.
It made all the Star Wars movies really good when they did that, so I really want them to keep doing that in the future.
Did you see the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer?
Yes, sir.
No,
What'd you think?
Okay. Well, immediately in the beginning, I was like, oh, that's a TVA. Okay, I see what's happening here. And I mean, they're bringing it into the MCU. They're bringing it into MCU canon. They're very upfront about it. They're not tiptoeing around it. If they somehow subvert this expectation, it'll be the greatest letdown of anything ever. It looks really good, and Ryan Reynolds was in good form. It looks like it has the same heart as all the other movies. So
I was surprised at how MCU it looked. Like you said,
Very
the TVA introducing him to the Avengers. Like, you can be part of this world if you want to, but you know, Deadpool wants to do his own thing. I'm a little surprised that the movie. I am surprised. I'm not surprised. The movie's called Deadpool and Wolverine. We've all seen the set photos of Hugh Jackman on the set in the yellow, original comics
and
costume.
they only show
but
his silhouette.
Yeah, you do not actually see him and it's a 2-minute long trailer. It's like a full length trailer, and you don't actually see him. I thought that was pretty bold, but give us all something to wait for.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the trailer I like the most, and I'm most excited for. So it looks like what we've all wanted for a long time. So here's hoping. But the MCU sucks a big one lately. So
yeah, I agree. It looks like it can maybe breathe some life into the comic book movies and where we're at right now, because right now at the time of recording, Madam Web opens tomorrow in theaters, and the reviews just came out today, and it has I think a 29 on Metacritic.
Is that
just
good?
pretty
Is it
abysmal.
29 out of 30 or what?
it's not.
It's out of 100.
Not.
Oh yeah, that's not good at all.
I know that Zach and Kyle want to go watch it, but because they're expecting it to be terrible, and so I might go with them. I might actually see this piece of crap, but yeah.
Well, that's that. I mean, Wicked looked fine if you're a fan of Wicked.
See, Wicked actually looked surprising. Like I didn't care at all, but then I saw the trailer. I was like, that looks dope. Like, that kind of looks cool.
Yeah. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looked pretty fun. I mean, everything looked pretty fun. So,
some solid movie trailers for sure. I'm happy with
Nothing
it, but I'm
real
not
surprising.
blown out of the water. Yeah.
Nothing real surprising. Nothing real too far out of left field, except for Twisters. Didn't see that one coming.
Do you remember when back years ago, however many years ago, when they showed the Cloverfield Paradox trailer and it was immediately available on Netflix following the Super Bowl? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I watched it like immediately after that.
I did too. It wasn't very good, but I watched it.
It was probably the worst of the Cloverfield trilogy. And by probably, I mean definitely was.
I mean, the first one is classic, and then the second one, oh my god,
awesome,
John
amazing
Goodman's
character
so
performances.
good.
And then the third one is in space, and it's ass.
Yeah.
Dude. It's just Jason X all over again.
I can't even remember
Jason
who the
X
star of
was
it was.
I was expecting Jason X to be in Cloverfield Paradox. I was surprised he didn't come out of the shaft.
That'd be cool.
Okay. I think that was really it for the
it.
topics of conversation I had. It's kind of a light news week. I'll be interested to see what happens with Xbox on Thursday, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about that a little bit next week. But otherwise, we can move right into our fresh movies of the week, where there's only one, and it's from me, and it's not even a new movie, because we are full on dumpuary. There's nothing much coming out in theaters.
The first time you've seen it, though?
No, I have seen this before, but it was the first time I'd rewatched it. So
In
I
fact,
rewatched.
We may have gone and seen this in theaters together, Drew. Maybe.
We might have. I don't even remember. I know I saw it in theaters.
This might have been
we're-
around the time I was living at Thomas's, and we might have gone and seen this one at Palladium together.
We are referring to Ready Player One, the Steven Spielberg directed movie based on the popular book by Ernest Cline. And it's actually, like I said, this is a Warner Brothers movie, but it is on Netflix now. I think they just put it on Netflix. And so it's been trending in the top 10 movies on Netflix for the past week. I was like, you know what? I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters. I remember liking it. It's kind of a divisive movie, I feel like. Critically, a lot of people have really panned it and don't like it. I remember liking it when I saw it, and I watched it again. I think it's a pretty fun movie. It's pretty good. If you've read the book and you're a diehard fan of the book, which the book has like so many pop culture references that you could never fit into one movie. I could see, how that would upset you, but as a fun video game themed and pop culture themed adventure movie from Spielberg, like the CG looks really good still and holds up.
It does hold up.
There's a lot of fun moments. The big race at the beginning, with the main character Percival, he drives the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Like that whole set piece is really good. There's little nitpick things with it. Like surely somebody would have figured out you could go backwards in the race at the beginning and that's how you get it. Like after 5 years of people trying, somebody would have done it. Yeah, there's nitpicky things. Overall, I think that movie is pretty fun. And again, what could have just been a CG vomit fest, like it is kind of that, except it's still well directed by Steven Spielberg. So like it still looks good. Like the motion looks good, the movement looks good, the choreography, like everything in this digital realm looks pretty solid. So I enjoyed my rewatch of Ready Player One.
I was
And that's-
literally just saying how I love dystopian future movies. It doesn't really matter if they're good or bad. Ready Player One falls right into that category.
fair.
Plus, it also sort of has that Sword Art Online kind of thing where it's in the game. And I think that's cool when it's in the game and you have
I like
to
it
go
a
fight
lot,
the
man.
man. You're fighting the man in the real world and then you're fighting the man in the game, back and forth. And you're using both
See,
realities.
I
about
like
it.
that trope a lot, but funny enough, I didn't really like Tron very much. So I don't know.
I loved the new Tron remakes, the newer Tron remakes with the Daft Punk soundtracks. They could have made 2 or 3 of those, and I would have gone to the theater every time.
Was not a big
They're
fan.
they're currently filming a new Tron movie starring Jared Leto. So
Yeah, they're still
there'll
making
be
those.
another
Ooh,
one.
Jared Leto. That's going to be bad.
You think Daft Punk will get back together and record music for it?
I don't know if I'd hold your breath, but it could, crazier things have happened.
I hope
It's called
Jared
Tron
Leto holds
Ares.
his breath until he dies. Yeah. So, yeah, Ready Player One. I also liked it. I didn't think I was going to originally because like it looks on paper like a big pander fest, but it's actually really good. It's not a pander fest. They use a lot of pop culture references, but they do it very well, and it's a really cool story. I feel.
Yeah, the main character is a little lame.
Yeah, I like
but
him.
I feel
In the
like
book,
that's kind
he's
of the nature
better.
of things like this.
Because he's
Yeah.
in the book he's a greasy little fat boy. And I think
Wade
that's-
Watts.
I think that's great. But yeah, Ready Player One.
That's all I got.
all the fresh
we
movies
can move
this
on to
week, huh?
fresh. Yeah, there's nothing. I didn't go see Lisa Frankenstein. That's the new release in theaters. I haven't caught it yet, and there really wasn't anything new on streaming that I was trying to catch. So yeah, that's it. I've been playing video games for the most part, which we'll talk about that later.
Fair enough.
Hell yeah.
I got one. So as we were talking about the Peacock selling shows thing earlier, they put Resident Alien on Netflix, so I finally started watching it. Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk. Very cool show. All about an alien that crash lands on our planet during a mission to destroy humanity that has to pretend to be one of us in order to carry out his mission. It's great. Alan Tudyk's the alien. That whole plot line, Gary, with the kid that knows he's an alien and he keeps trying to kill him.
Is
So funny.
hilarious.
It's so
Oh
funny,
my
dude.
god, it's so good every time.
Dude, I've been laughing a lot. And then, like, I don't know, man. Like he took a tissue sample from that dead guy's foot, but instead it was really a foreskin from a baby that he talked the parents into circumcising on the spot. Oh man, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's really funny. It's a great show. Check it out. It's kind of unhinged, but it's really good.
It is kind of unhinged. Yeah, I loved Resident Alien right up until maybe like the end of the first season going into the second season. It seems like they totally just lose their steam. I don't know what happened. Maybe new director, new writers, something changes in that show. And Resident Alien just kind of falls off, but man, does it start strong.
Starts off great. I'm like 4 episodes in. I finished the 4th one. It's really funny. So yeah, I
And I
recommend
think
checking it out.
There are only the 2 seasons right now, right? And
On Netflix
so-
for sure. There's only 2 seasons.
and I think it was the same way on Peacock. So I'd be curious to see if after this Netflix revival, if maybe they get a third season. Maybe Netflix wants to produce a season. I don't think the idea is dead, but I think it definitely needs something fresh.
It's also based on a comic book by Dark Horse, apparently, which I did not know.
I did not know that either.
It's a Dark Horse comic book about an alien. I actually kind of want to read it. Seems like it'd be funny. But yeah, that's it for Resident Alien.
Also on Peacock, that Resident Alien he's talking about is on Netflix, but it was on Peacock before that. Also on Peacock, this is a show I was going to recommend to Jahan. It's a show called Nerds and Monsters. So I was looking for a cartoon to watch the other day, a decent cartoon, a new cartoon, something we haven't seen before. And I stumbled on Nerds and Monsters, and it immediately reminded me of a little bit of the House of Imaginary Friends.
Foster's Home
And
for Imaginary
Foster's
Friends.
House of Imaginary Friends, and a little bit of Dexter's Laboratory.
Ooh.
So it has like an intro song that explains the plot, and the plot is they were on a plane on a field trip and they got lost and now they're stranded on the island.
Field trip. Now they're stranded on an
Stay easy.
island.
So monsters live on one half of the island,
Monsters
and
live on one half of the island.
it's like four elementary school nerds live on the other half of the island.
4 nerds live on the other side of the island.
I
And so
do
it's
not like
basically
this
just
bit,
this,
and I do not support it.
It's just an episode by episode thing. It's a kid show, you know. It's not. I saw that it was TVG. I was hoping it wouldn't be too dumbed down, but it's not. It's funny. It's watchable. If you guys are looking for a cartoon to watch with your family, Nerds and Monsters. It's got some D&D jokes in it. It's got some funny monster jokes, and it's TVG. So it's a nice little family-friendly cartoon you guys could be watching on Peacock. I recommend Nerds and Monsters. Also on Peacock is The Traitors. I loved the first season, and I am just hating the second season more and more and more as the weeks go on.
Nice.
The fact that they replaced the regular people with all reality show stars, it makes the whole show weird because people are like, well, I know that I can't trust him because he won this season of this show and I watched it and I know how he acts. And it's just weird to me. Like, it's not the point of The Traitors to like have watched somebody's filmography before they got there. That's not the point of the show. You're not supposed to vote people out based on stuff like that. It really ruined the format from season 1 to season 2. Season 2 is also super overproduced with these like really cheesy like big event challenges and stuff that they do that are obviously way more expensive. They spent way more money, but it's just a bunch of reality stars and it's kind of a crappy reality star show. I'm watching The Traitors season 2, but I loved season 1. And it got me interested. I went and started watching The Traitors Australia, and everybody in Traitors Australia is a regular person again. So it's got that charm to it. So I'll probably watch Traitors Australia, and I'll probably watch Traitors Great Britain, or UK, but I'll probably stop watching The Traitors if the American version continues to be an overproduced reality star smorgasbord. It's not for me.
I understand that complaint. I'm really liking The Traitors season 2, but I am familiar with a lot of the people. So, like, from my perspective, it's almost like an all-stars reality crossover show.
If they called
that
it
can be
Traitors
fun.
All-Stars, I would have none of these complaints because all of these guys are reality stars. But
Or
the
if
fact
at
that it's
least-
just Traitors season 2 doesn't work for me.
Or if at least they like really went into the time at the beginning or throughout of like giving you more backstory on these people for who don't know and show highlights of these people from their shows. But I don't know if it's because a lot of these shows are on different networks and
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't have the rights, but like they really just reference stuff loosely. I'm kind of surprised that the editors haven't done more to show that, but you know, maybe they're limited in what they can do. Because I did have that thought early on. I'm like, if you don't know these people, don't even bother. You're right.
And it's even not knowing the people, right? Because I don't expect to know the people in the UK version or the Australia version. It's like, I just don't think it's fair when other house guests are like, that guy won 2 seasons of Big Brother, so you got to kick him out because you know he's good at lying. And it's like, that has nothing to do with what he said or did here. That's the dumbest thing you could bring to the table. Like, that's not what this show is supposed to be. I hate that crap. And it happens a lot in Traitors season 2. Constantly.
You see that a lot on The Challenge, which is a reality show that I love. I love The Challenge on MTV, but The Challenge reuses their cast members all the time. You know, there are people that have done over a dozen seasons of the show because they bring people back and they do find new people. They used to cast exclusively from Real World and Road Rules, which were MTV reality shows, but then when those shows went out of production, now
up.
they recruit people from other reality shows. So there are Survivor vets that are on the challenge now, and there's people from Big Brother, and they borrow from all kinds of reality shows for the challenge cast now. That being said, these people are on seasons with each other time and time again. So there are people that are like, well, I want that person out because we have beef from 2 seasons
Yeah, 'cause
ago
I can
when
tell
this
they're
happened.
lying
And
because they lied to me 4 years ago.
yeah, they sent me into an elimination 4 seasons ago, and I still hold a grudge, so I want them out. I'm like, man, why can't we just go into each one with a clean slate? Like, I'm with
Correct.
you. So the challenge is like you kind of have to go into each season with a little bit of knowledge of the history because they do make a lot of decisions based off of existing relationships they have with each other.
Yeah, I don't love that. I guess I like it for the challenge, right? But leave that on the challenge. That doesn't need to be what the traders is all about. You don't need all this outside knowledge and pre-existing history of each other. I got one more show I want to talk about. I don't just want to crap on the Traders season 2. And I'd like to remind you guys to watch Trader season 1. I loved Trader season 1. Season 2 is not it for me, and it might be your jam. But I have one more show. It's a Netflix show. I've been talking about it the past couple weeks. I'll probably talk about it a few more until the episodes stop coming out. But Delicious in Dungeon. I'm still telling you to watch it. Delicious in Dungeon. That's one of the better shows to watch right now on Netflix. New episode every single Thursday. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to love Delicious in Dungeon. If you think that the idea of cooking up monsters and eating them in the dungeon is kind of funny or kind of cool, then you're going to love Delicious in Dungeon. Please watch it. You probably have Netflix. They're quick episodes. They're fun episodes. It looks a little anime for those of you who are not into anime. The style is certainly anime. But there's something about maybe I'm not sure what it is. Maybe the plot, maybe the fact that they're eating monsters. It feels like a real Western media inspired story with an anime visual style. Watch Delicious in Dungeon. I don't think you'll regret it.
I mean,
Good stuff.
I watched it and I like it, and you should check it out. I agree.
Hell yeah. That's it for my Fresh TV for the week.
I just have a couple things to add. One, Gary, a show that you had recommended, The Trust, a Game of Greed, a reality show on Netflix where the premise
Ooh, I
is...
didn't know you watched The Trust.
I've only watched the first episode, so I can't go into it too far. But the concept is there's basically $250,000 up for grabs, and there's 11 cast members. And from the get go, it's like this: you have $250,000 you can split between all of you. But then they are still given the choice if they want to, eliminate people or not. People they don't trust, people that they maybe already have money, whatever it may be. Because by eliminating people, you get more money in the end. There's less people to split the money amongst. And there are offers and things given to people, reasons to kind of like persuade them to, or, maybe, just encourage them to get rid of someone.
I want to say somebody at one point gets an offer of like either $20,000 or $30,000 to leave. They just take the money from the pot and go home. And that's the offer. So it's got offers like that just will like totally, they'll screw up the prize pot. They'll screw up who you thought you were going to vote for. They do a lot of interesting things to keep.
How much is in the pop total?
It starts at 250,000.
Yeah. Dude, if they offered me 30,000, I would leave immediately. You kidding me? Guaranteed
right?
in my hand,
Guaranteed
30 grand. Yeah, I'm out.
Bye. Exactly.
By people I don't care about. I know none of you.
But because of the premise of that you can vote but don't have to vote, it's a really interesting balance of the players in the house that say, hey, let's not vote, let's all work together. And then the players on the other side that say, hey, let's pick people off so we all get more money. And so, eventually those two things are going to come at a head of these people who are like, let's work together versus the people who are like, yeah, let's maybe not work together with everybody. It causes a real interesting sort of, just psychological divide in the house.
Yeah, and I think the main thing when Gary brought this up, he just said it was really good casting, that he liked, he just felt like they had a good assortment of people on it, and I agree. So I this is kind of a perfect, like, when you're laying in bed, throw it on before going to sleep. It's like kind of that perfect show. I think it's only 8 episodes or so. It's not that many. But yeah, so I'm going to keep watching this. So Gary, thank you for the recommendation. And then the only other thing I had to throw out was the Daily Show returned this week, and Jon Stewart is back on the Daily Show hosting on
Yes,
Monday
sir.
nights only. So only Monday nights. So we get him once a week, and so I did want to catch up on this because I like Jon Stewart in general, and it didn't disappoint. I thought his return to the show, it was like he'd never left. He did a great job. Of course, he got into the presidential election upcoming, and that's why he's back, right? Is to comment leading up through the election. And I feel like he did a good job tearing down both sides. Like he equally made fun of everyone, and just super clever writing and great delivery. He hasn't lost a beat. So I'll be tuning into the Daily Show throughout the coming months as we get toward the next election.
Yeah,
I actually ended up seeing a clip of this on Reddit today. It was like a made me smile, and it was like a minute and 42-second clip from his monologue, and it was really good. You're right. He's had his timing is still great. The writing is still great. He's got it, and like you said, he hasn't missed a day. Exactly. It's like he hasn't missed a fucking second, dude. He's killing it.
I mean,
And I think they said it was the highest rated episode of the show. Most people watched it in like 5 years. So, people are checking it out.
I mean, he was kind of born to do what he was doing, so it makes sense. Yeah, him and John Oliver, friggin' love both of them. Funny people, and yeah, I'm glad that he's back, even if it's only temporary. It's good to see Jon Stewart again.
He did have an Apple show there for a bit because Gary and I talked about it a couple of years ago because we were both watching it, and I'm not really sure what happened there. I think it just wasn't getting the pickup that, or the viewership that they wanted it to. I've heard rumors that maybe some of the topics were pretty hard hitting that Jon Stewart was getting into, and Apple was maybe like not into that and wanting to pull back on it a little bit. I don't know. That's all that's all rumor, but regardless, him back on the Daily Show, it is like he's home. So it's very enjoyable. Go check it out. I think it's streaming on Paramount Plus the next day if you subscribe to that service.
Or it's on television.
Or television, but if you don't catch it live.
What the hell is television?
I know, right? Is that still going on? Ridiculous.
Is that an app? Is it? How do you spell it?
It's gonna be.
The television app. All right, we got one more section.
Oh, sorry, here it is. Just to follow up on myself. The show, Jon Stewart's Apple show, was canceled due to creative differences between Stewart and Apple, which reportedly involved the show's coverage of AI, Israel, and China. So there you go. There were creative issues.
Those are some pretty hard hit issues, yes, sir.
I mean, AI is not so bad.
AI is not so bad. The other two are
They
pretty.
must have been pissed off about the other two.
Yeah, the other two are pretty hot topics.
Just in case you guys didn't know, Israel and China both kind of fucking suck right now. And so they probably didn't like that he said that.
They probably didn't like that he said that.
All right, let's talk about some games.
That's you guys. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, John,
I
you
haven't played
don't have any
anything.
games?
Well, I mean, I've been playing Marvel Snap, Overwatch 2, XCOM. Same stuff. You guys know what I've been playing. I'm still gaming, guys. Don't worry. I'm not depressed or anything.
We've been putting some time in on Overwatch 2. We got a whole group of the boys playing it right now. We got stacks of 5-man squads, and we're just putting up numbers.
Yeah, we just played the crap out of Overwatch 2. Still free on Game Pass, or just plain
it's
free?
free. It's free, and a lot of the stuff people hated about it were the botched launch was just horrible. So if you can pretend that
I feel like
Overwatch
it's been
1
fixed a little bit, yeah.
Well, if you could pretend Overwatch 1 never existed and that the botched launch didn't happen, then it's actually a pretty fun game. If you just take it for exactly what it is, it's pretty fun.
If you just want to play with the boys, check it out. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. I haven't done anything new. I'm trying to play some new games. I've been interested in Helldivers 2, a few other things. Hopefully, I'll get to put some time in and report back. But
that's last week I talked about how I've been playing a lot of different games and some for the first time. Like I was talking about Xenoblade Chronicles. And guys, I don't know what happened. I was on my PlayStation the other day. I think I was going in because I wanted to claim like the PlayStation Plus games of the month to add to my library to make sure I had those. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had The Last of Us Part 1. installed here. Like, let me jump into it and just kind of see how it looks. Because, Gary, you're going to love this, right? The Last of Us. There have been two Last of Us games. There's The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us came out on the PlayStation 3 back in 2013. Then, when the PlayStation 4 launched, they came out with The Last of Us Remastered for PS4, right?
You
Because
can buy it again,
The Last
play
of
it
Us,
again.
Last of Us had come out late in the lifespan of the PS3, so immediately available on PS4 in a remastered version that included the DLC. And now here we are, over 10 years after the first game came out, and now there has been a sequel that came out in 2020, and they remade The Last of Us Part 1 for the PlayStation 5, so it uses the same engine as The Last of Us Part 2, and so they updated a lot of the graphics and everything and put it out on PS5. It is a total remake. And
So it's Part 1, but for the third time
Yes.
with
Correct.
a different
The
with
third-
a different engine.
Third iteration.
With a different engine, but the same game.
same game, yeah. Yes, that's correct. So,
I'm unimpressed and unenthused.
Unimpressed
I
is better than you
figured.
usually say, so we'll take it.
Yeah, I'm unimpressed.
that being said, I was just gonna try it out, like just see how much better do the graphics look and how's the gameplay. And the graphics look great and the gameplay is fantastic. And I started playing it and then I kept playing it and now I've been returning to it and I'm all of a sudden I'm 10 hours into it and I'm getting close to the end of the story. And let me say this. I am obviously familiar with the storyline of this game. I played it when it came out. I played the remaster a few years ago before Part 2 came out, and I've watched an entire HBO series based on the first game that pretty much followed the same plot to a T. So, like, I am well versed in that. And yet I am still captured by this remake and playing it again, which I think speaks to A, how good the storytelling is in the game, but B, how good the gameplay is and how much it holds up, because I'm still playing it, even though I'm it's not a mystery what happens in the game, but the act of playing it is very fun. So I have been playing The Last of Us Part 1, the remake for PS5, and it's great. And if you haven't played The Last of Us before, maybe you watched the HBO show but you never played the game, if you have a PS5, go ahead and get The Last of Us Part 1 and try it out. This is the definitive
Now,
way to play the game. It's really
Would
good.
you recommend that I get a PlayStation 3, 4, and 5 so I could play each version of The Last of Us? Or should I just play the newest one?
I would say just play the newest one. You'll be just
Okay.
fine.
All right, I just making sure. Make sure I get
Good
the
question,
full-
though. Good
thank
good
you.
question. I like the completionist aspect to it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think you're set.
Speaking of completionist, I put up a 1,000-point achievement. I did it. I 100% an Xbox game, and I haven't done that in a long time because I'm not an achievement hunter. And I didn't mean to achievement hunt it either. It just happened. But One Piece Pirate Warriors, I took the picture last week and sent it to Jahan and Drew. I did it 100%. I beat everything and everything with everyone 100%. And then I downloaded Attack on Titan 2. And I've been putting days into Attack on Titan now, man. I'm getting good at killing Titans. So the game last week I was telling you guys about it. It's all about movement. It's all about finding that right spot. And then yesterday I got an achievement for 100 allies dying on the battlefield. And I was like, what is happening? And I just realized that the story of Attack on Titan, which I didn't finish the anime because it's just really, really brutal. But the story of Attack on
that's fair.
on Titan, it reels you in, and it's like the heroes are gonna save the day. They're doing their training. Look how good they got, and then half of them just got squished, killed, and eaten. And it's horrible, and it's sad, and everyone is feeling the pain and misery. But then, like the next 3 or 4 episodes, like you patch up the wall, you rebuild the stuff, everyone's feeling good, and then you go out and then people get squished to death and eaten and killed again, and then you're sad because all your favorite characters died. But then that just happens always 100% of the time because Titans crush, kill, and eat people constantly. So that's part of the game and part of the story that I've just been really that's the part that I'm experiencing now. It's just like it doesn't matter what you do, the hopelessness of the Titan story. And then I'm starting to find out some of the things from the anime that the
You're
wrenches
learning
they
the
throw into
secrets.
the story.
Yeah. He's been
Yeah,
texting
the
me, and I've been
secrets.
laughing because
I
I
know
know
that
everything
Jahan
happens,
watched-
and he's like, I'm like, oh, you found that out finally? Cool.
Yeah, I know Jahan watched the whole thing, and so for me, these Koei Tecmo games have been a great way to experience these animes because I get to play through it, I get to get all the highlights of the story, and then text my friends and talk to my friends about these different story highlights and get more information and more stuff. I'm just really into these Koei Tecmo games right now. I've got Samurai Warriors on my wish list. I've got my eyes open so I can just crush another Dynasty Warriors style game. Those games speak to me, man. I finally found one of those. It just harkens back to my childhood, nothing but nostalgia in those Dynasty Warriors games. But Attack on Titan 2, something totally fun. It really is Spider-Man with swords. I don't know what else to call it. I think everyone out there, keep an eye out. This game, I got it for $30, and I think that was a great price. But if you guys ever see this on sale for 15 or $10 or something, get it. Just pick it up and play it. Attack on Titan 2 is a lot of fun. For me, easily worth 30. Probably not worth 60. None of the online multiplayer matchmaking and stuff works. Don't shell out your hard-earned cash for Attack on Titan 2, but look for a deal because it's a lot of fun. Nothing like it.
Well, hey, sounds like a winner. That's fresh games for this week. All that leaves is our fresh picks. I guess we'll start with me. My fresh pick of the week is Resident Alien, starring Alan Tudyk, on Netflix and Peacock. I believe it's still on Peacock. Very funny. Very, very funny. I was laughing a lot. It's very much my sense of humor. And it's got, aliens in it, so, that does it for me. I'm all in on this show. It's very funny. I hope it, keeps my interest for a while.
Plus, Alan Tudyk is the lead, and he's amazing.
Alan Tudyk's hilarious. Yeah, I love Alan Tudyk in pretty much everything. I feel like he's pretty underrated in general. I feel like he's pretty underrated.
I agree. I've heard that he's hard to work with, but I've only ever heard that once. Otherwise, people seem to love him. So,
Yeah.
I feel like there's not that much credit to that. Whoever said that must have been a jerk. Maybe they need to look in the mirror. He's become the go-to Disney animation guy. He's been in every Disney animated movie ever since Wreck-It Ralph came out.
If you think you don't know Alan Tudyk, you're probably wrong. He's voice acts everything now. He's an incredible voice actor.
I can tell you exactly who it was because I remember who it was.
It was the guys in Dodgeball.
It was the director of Dodgeball,
Yeah.
Rawson Marshall Thurber. Everybody knows him, right? He did We're the Millers, Central Intelligence, Red Notice, Skyscraper. He kind
I
of
was going to say, he became one of the Rock's guys. He was directing a bunch of Rock Dwayne movies.
Yes. So he's probably, I'm just going to go on a ledge and say he's probably a douchebag.
You know what? A lot of
I don't know.
speculation here.
I'm going to fight him, dude. Rawson Marshall Thurber, I challenge you to a podcast fight in the Octagon.
You gonna put him through the small concert disc?
You damn right I am. I'm going to hit him with
Building
a
up
desktop
a full
computer.
card here, full match card.
Hell yeah!
All right. Drew, you still have to call out a match. My fresh pick of the week is Attack on Titan 2. If you can find it on a sale, don't spend your $60 on it, but if you can find it for $30 or $20, pick up Attack on Titan 2. I'm loving it, having a blast as someone who did not watch the anime and is not attached to the lore. I love the combat. It's a lot of fun. And it makes me want to watch the show just a little bit more.
And my fresh pick of the week is The Last of Us Part 1. Not a new game, but the newest version of this game is great. And if you haven't played the game, this is the best way to do so. The Last of Us Part 1. It's on PlayStation 5. Maybe one day it'll be on Xbox too if the world changes, but who knows? Had to see what I did. I brought it all full circle there.
Full circle. That's what makes a good podcast, Drew. Thank you everyone for watching Fresh Out the Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, I hope's better. No, I'm just kidding. This is great. I've been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty, CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. If you like tabletop role-playing games or you just want to kind of see us doing improv stuff, we're kind of being improv silly. We're kind of being improv serious. We're just storytellers trying to tell stories, man. So if you're a storyteller or you want to see us telling stories, drop by Fresh Out the Podcast, or Fresh Out the Box, I mean. It's on every Thursday, every Friday. If you're sitting around wondering what to do, just go to twitch.tv/Shahananon or follow us on our YouTube, Fresh Out the Box TTRPG, where you'll catch us playing some games. And thank you guys so much for tuning into our podcast this week.
I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. This has been episode 118 of Fresh Out the Podcast. I do challenge Joey, the current Bachelor, that's airing Mondays on ABC, to a podcast fight. I don't really have any beef with him. He seems like actually a pretty nice guy. I just think he has a pretty punchable face. So
nice.
Might as well throw out the challenge now.
Throwing down the gauntlet. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Stay fresh.